Hey, hey. Okay. Okay, I'm doing this video just because I've got a new camera and I've got a couple of big projects I want to do, but the lenses I had, the kit lens I got a Canon 80 to 135 with it, and I had a 35mm f2 Canon lens to go with it as well. But when I tested them, I'm doing a project where I want to do interviews. It's mostly like slightly tighter than this shot so that it's quite intense. Either offset to the side, in the middle, offset to the other side, with people a lot more interested than me. So that's why this looks a bit weird at the moment, I think. But what I found was that the other two lenses could do it quite well, but any time either it was slightly darker, like I'd go and interview someone in a different place, or any time I tried to play around with anything more than kind of general settings, trying to work out if I wanted how blurred out the background I wanted to be and all these kind of things, then as soon as I did that, I started having problems with digital noise, and also the quality, that last little bit just wasn't quite there. So what I did was I sold my Canon lens on eBay, and for £320, and bought a Sigma F1.4 20mm. I got the 20mm not because I want to use it as a 20mm lens, but obviously my camera, being a Canon 80D, has a 1.6 crop, so it comes in at about 32mm, which is a nice usable kind of size. It's pretty similar, very close to 35. It's nice for photos because I do a lot of events, so I can take photos kind of in low light, stuff like that. F1.4, or even, and the detail obviously on this is much better. But what I want to do is I want to show you a bunch of examples of what this lens and this camera in a combination, right? So this has no LED lighting. This is just a natural light that's coming through a big window behind the camera, right? Obviously you can see one side's quite light, looks really good though, really natural. One side's a bit darker, but you can still see it's picking it up really well. This at the moment is, we're running it on a dot movie file, so it's 25 frames a second. It's set to a 50th. Just because the 180 rule, when you're running a movie, it looks quite nice. It's on f5.6. I did that because my other two lenses, their sweet spot was somewhere, the f2 was somewhere like 3.5, 4.5 ish, but my other Canon lens was 5.6. So when I put it up there and it has this kind of natural look without the blurred out background as much, then that's when I had all the problems. So that's why I've started with this, so that you can just see this. The ISO at the moment in this is at 500. I'll probably have to adjust it a bit as I change the settings, but what I'll do is I'll go straight down to f1.4 so that you can see what happens with it. Then we'll put it up to about 3.5, which is probably 3 or 3.5 is roughly where I'm going to use it, because I want to blow it out, but I don't want to blow out all the ears and things like that. And then after that we'll play around with some stuff. Okay, this is the crazy YouTube interview look that everyone loves. It's still a bit bright. For me, I look like I'm going into the tunnel, don't I? But face is really clear. When I come up close and it's like that, it's the quality is really, really good. You can see the detail all on my beard, really natural kind of skin look. Hair looks really good and detailed still. It's not like quite blotchy whenever I move around. This is set to face recognition. I've done a few tests so far where I haven't done it with face recognition, and I've done it with just selecting the object, and obviously it's slightly different, but it still gets the same results. Really, really good. The Sigma lens I've been really, really impressed with. The quality's brilliant. But it's just to show you all these differences, because that was the thing I couldn't really find, was someone who'd used a Canon lens, used one of these Sigma Art lenses and showed you the difference in quality and in f-stop wise. Okay, what I'm going to do now is we've gone from 1.4 now, so I'm going to put it up to about 3.5. Okay, that's the lens up at 3.5. The thing I like about 3.5 is it gets your ears in, so that if you've got somebody who moves around a lot, it looks natural. Some of the places I'm going to do interviews will have stuff behind, and other times it'll just be like this where it's quite a blank wall, but I didn't want it to be about where they're sitting, so I still want to blur the background out a bit, and I want it to look kind of nice, and obviously the Sigma lenses do great kind of effect with the blur out as well in the background, so it looks really good. But you can see from looking at my face and the focus how good it is. The thing that amazes me about this lens, the detail's great, the quality all the way through the range from f1.4 all the way up to whatever you want to use, it's brilliant. But what was I going to say? F-stops. It's 3.5. Oh, the thing I was going to say, totally forgot, went in my head, I was blabbering on as I do, is when I was buying the lens, it told me what the minimum distance was, and it's something like just under 30 centimetres. But what amazes me, I'm not sure if it'll do it in this setting as much, but like, right, so there's me and I'm probably 10 centimetres away from the lens. I think on facial recognition, you can get to with about 10 or 12 and it still focuses. You can see all that detail in my beard. But if you don't put it on facial recognition and you do it on point recognition and you just say select the centre of your screen, when the person's coming in, it refocuses almost right up to the lens, which is amazing. So it's something to keep in mind if you're doing a video project where you want to use autofocus and there's stuff moving around, or if it's you and you're moving things in and out of the lens all the time. Because like, there you go. So that's probably just under 10 centimetres. Okay, so maybe 3 inches away, like 7.5, 8 centimetres away, and it's fine. And then yeah, probably when it gets under about 5 or 6, then it struggles. But that's because the autofocus is on facial recognition, so that's kind of crazy about it. What I'll do is I'll put it down to 2, and then I'll tell you a couple of the negatives that I've found with the lens. Okay, as you can see, I've gone down again, so it's got a bit more blur than 3.5. It's more like the 1.4, but not quite as extreme. The quality's there though, you can still see all that detail. It's not over the top, which is quite nice. On the right person, if you're doing like a one-off interview, or if you were doing something yourself and you were in control, then this is probably really nice, 2 or 2.5. But for general interviews, I don't think it's right for me. This is a ISO 200, so natural light ISO 200 looks really good. Again, detail's unbelievable. Camera, no autofocus problems whatsoever. I know I've read about different things. I know some of the Sigma Art lenses seem to either forward or back focus out the box. I did a few tests to check because that was the thing I was worried about, but seems totally fine. As a camera taking photos, it focuses differently, I would say, than my 2 Canon lenses. It's not that it doesn't focus at all, it focuses differently. The way it finds the points, I would say it's a slight bit slower than the 2 Canon lenses. It's a bit more kind of click clunk, but it finds them and it takes the photo, and the quality's brilliant. The quality's noticeably better. Video wise, especially like when you move down the f-stop or up the f-stops, 1.4, 2, 2.5, like under 3 with compared to the Canon, the 35 is much better. Right, so only two problems I've had with this lens. Number one, oh, is it going to focus on my hand? Number one, yep, is number one, the weight of this lens. The lens weighs 950 grams. Yep, 950 grams. So pretty much almost at a kilo for just for the lens. So if you're going to use it as a camera and go around taking photos at parties, if you're going to go and hang out with your friends, if you're going to walk around a lot, it's not a lens that you can carry about very easily. It's got a quite specific range of uses. Put it on a tripod, use it for like this kind of situation, videoing, I would say even vlogging if you've got the right thing, but not for a long time. But I would say that in the right situation it's 10 times better than any the other lenses, even ones I've borrowed off people and things like that. So really, really good. But 950 grams is a lot for a camera. I'm going to use it for events, so it should be perfect for that because I'm using it. I'm not walking around a lot. I'm only there for maybe 3 hours taking photos, and they're very specific, quite static, so it's alright. Any more than that and I would be like, no, this is too much. The other problem, and you'll be able to hear this a tiny bit when I'm up close because it's the biggest adjustment, is the motor on this lens is really noisy, like really noisy. I can hear it loads. When you come back, because the adjustment isn't so big, because you're for some reason the motor doesn't seem to make as much noise. The other thing is, this is me using an external mic, because when I use the onboard mic with the Canon 80D, normally if I get stuck and I've forgot it and I'm filming something, it's not actually that bad for sound. It's not professional, but if you're filming something at like 1080p and you're just interviewing someone really quickly and you just want a couple answers, or if you're filming some like at an event and it's quite dark and the noise is going to be loud anyway, the sound's really good. It's good enough, totally. But when you're doing it properly, if you're going to film somebody with the built-in mic up close, it's almost at the point of being unusable. Like, it makes as much noise as me. I'm not sure. What I'll try is I'll try unplugging it and seeing if it notices. Okay, here we go. So hopefully, right, camera's had a little bit of a meltdown, but it's fine. Now what's going to happen is I've unplugged the mic, so hopefully it's picking me up. Now, you'll hear me speaking, and I've got quite a loud voice, but now you'll hear the mic, you'll hear the motor on the, it's actually, I think it was just having a moment trying to catch up. Yeah, you'll hear it. It's really, really kind of off-putting. It's fine if you're sitting back here and you've got an external mic, and if you were speaking to somebody or if you were filming at an event and you've got, then it's fine. But it's just if you're in a quiet setting. My Canon F2 35mm made no noise whatsoever. It didn't make any. So, and actually no, it did make a tiny bit of noise, but it wasn't noticeable. The EFS 18135 is built for this camera, so it just flies, boom boom, but it's not got the quality through the range, and even if you leave it at one setting, it's not brilliant. So if a little bit of noise, and if the weight are you can overcome them with what you're doing, like putting it on a tripod, put it on a single like a monopod, or you're using them for like events, where you're not moving around loads, you're just basically 2 or 3 hours rather than a whole day or trips somewhere, or you're never going to take this on a travelling holiday. You're never going to take this out with your friends to take photos. You need to be pretty hardcore, because by the time you add on your camera, you're carrying 1.5 kilos, maybe even more, probably slightly more than that. So you've got to think about the practicality. But for the money, I would say go for it. Crop sensor lens, 20mm becomes 32mm f1.4, so you can go all the way up, and then it's still usable. Sharpness is there all the way through the range. Price wise, I think at the moment there's someone on eBay selling one for £620. Used, they're about 530 to 550. I got my, what to do is look, if you're buying off eBay as well, have a look at when the auctions end. People who sell on Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday mornings, strange times like mid-morning, so 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, people are not going to be bidding on these as much as 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock on a weeknight, because people are going to be busy. So I got mine for 480 used, and the user said they'd only used it once, which means they'd probably used it 2 or 3 times in reality. It was spotless, the box is spotless, came with all the papers, they hadn't even registered it for warranty stuff or anything like that, so it's perfect. So in theory, for me to upgrade, I sold my Canon lens for 320 and I bought this for 480, so it's a £160 upgrade to go to a 20mm f1.4, which is, for a Canon 80D, it changes everything I've done. The quality's huge, the motor works really well even though it's a tad noisy, and it puts it in line with all these lenses that everyone kind of dreams about. I think like £1,200 to £1,400 L lenses, that some of the new ones are coming out and are amazing, but the quality's not any better than this. And this is 620 new, 650 I think retail, used 500 to 550. If you're lucky you might just get under 500. I don't think you can beat that. I think that's, for money, especially Canon mount, Canon mount lens, this has got to be the best lens you can get for your money, for doing interviews and for taking high aperture shots. Okay? Hope that taught you or showed you what. Good luck.